So, anybody hear me now? Hey, there we go. I don't know what's up. This mic is kind of odd. Hello. Yeah, I was trying to say that fans are definitely my least favorite part of any build, but they make everything look so good. So I actually got this 5-pack of fans and the controller for $35, which is a pretty good steal, but it's kind of a hit or miss with these cheap fans. A lot of times you get the RGB doesn't work or the motors and the fans don't work. But at $35, you really can't complain. This case came with a ton of accessories, cable management ties, extra screws. And I got this case from a gamer buddy of mine who ordered one. It took too long to get there to his house, so he canceled it, ordered another one, and in the meantime, the original one showed up at his house, so he sold it to me for super cheap. I was also trying to say earlier before I got my mic working that if you see me awkwardly using a screwdriver with my right hand, it's because I have a fracture in the base of my thumb and makes dexterous efforts with the thumb and forefinger a little challenging. I'm also right-handed, so if you see me using my left hand, I don't know how to do that very well. Don't have much practice. So I'm also filming this using my iPhone in the 4K 60 frames a second mode. And the quality is pretty good, I would say. There's just a significant delay between the video and when it actually goes out, it seems, with this camera. I'll probably have to adjust that if I keep doing this. Ah, what the hell? Yeah, I totally put that fan in backwards. Whoops. General rule of thumb is where the protective grate is the direction that the air goes. That's rad. You're gonna hike Mount Washington before you come home? Dude, take a ton of pics and videos. Oh, show. That's going to be awesome, especially this time of year. I just want to thank everybody for stopping by and hanging out, watching the build. This is something I really enjoy doing. It's the second one I've done in a couple weeks. Did a budget build for my kids the other week that they're using for school and gaming both. This one's mine. Moving over my dedicated streaming rig to a new cooler case. I was getting 80 degrees Celsius plus on the other case. Dude, it will run Minesweeper at 240 frames a second, my man. The real question is, will it run Crisis? I actually have an RTX 2060 in this rig. I managed to get that before the whole scalper prices and everything happened, just before the lockdown for the COVIDs. So I lucked out with that and got it just at retail, and it's been working out really well. It's just that the temperatures have just been way too hot inside of the stock case that I had this rig in before. So it has liquid cooled CPU. So it had that fan, and it had two other fans in the case, and that was literally it. Yeah, it was 80 degrees plus. I was worried about, you know, the longevity of stuff, especially that new $400 card that I put in this thing. So we're switching it up. It's going to have 5 120 millimeter RGB fans, in addition to 3 fans from the old rig. I'm going to bring all those over as well. More fans. Give me more. So I am a little nervous about this brand of fan. I've never used them before myself. I had a ton of good reviews on Amazon. I really couldn't beat them for the price. I mean, $35 for 120 millimeter RGB fans. I had a 4.5 star rating with like thousands of reviews. So I guess for that price, I'll take the gamble. I mean, they're essentially just passive air fans. They just run at a constant speed, so they're not variable or they're not controlled by anything. They're just fancy looking. I will say that this part is definitely killing my hand. Having to really crank that on these fan screws. But the fracture has been getting better. It's been 6 months. Doctor told me there really wasn't much they could do, and it was so small and in such position they really couldn't do anything for it. So, just trying to then take it easy. I am excited about getting to the cable management for this, though. It looks pretty awesome. Probably the most conducive cable management system I've seen in a case in any build that I've ever done. So, really excited for that. Should be cool. Sorry, I have to step away from the desk real quick. 1 sec. All right. We got the front 3 fans blowing in. We're going to go 220 millimeters on the top blowing up. And there's also a small 1-inch fan that the motherboard needs to have plugged in. Otherwise, you get a weird error that I'm also going to mount in the top blowing up. So I think this here is where the prior case had the biggest shortcoming. While there was open plastic meshing in the top, so to speak, there wasn't much in the way of forced airflow directing heat up and out of the case. It was more of a from the front to the back, and there wasn't any dust filters or anything like that. So inside of the case always got dirty. It was just a nightmare. So this will just be a general quality of life improvement all around. I am going to have a little bit of a challenge getting the pump controller installed on this, because there's a separate card that controls both the RGB from the old Alienware tower as well as the heating and cooling. So I'm not using, well, I basically am using that same card and controller to use to control the 3 fans that are coming out of the old system as well as the CPU pump. So I have to figure out where to mount that as well. There's 2 separate cards. There's like a secondary remote location interface, and then the main PCI board. Nice finishing touch for the magnetic dust cover. I like that it comes off really easily for cleaning. Now let's get this cable management kind of preemptively started. I usually wait until everything is in before I start messing with this and I end up hating life, so. lots of little nooks and crannies and channels to run the wires. Plenty of cable ties, Velcro straps, other tie down points. Really, really liking this case. So this is probably the most pleasant cable management experience I've ever had. And we're just getting started, so this is a great sign. Just gotta figure out where to stick the controller, but we'll deal with that in a minute. Go ahead and stick the optical drives back in the new cases, or the new slots. This rig has 5 hard drives in it. It's got 3 solid state drives and 2 optical drives. And the optical drives are the 1 terabyte Western Digital Black. I also have network storage. There's 12 terabytes of network storage, and that's where I usually store most of my videos, streams, and that sort of stuff. OneDrive doesn't seem to want to go in. These are the plates for the solid state drives. Wait a second. Let's see here. Yeah, I feel dumb. I made that way too complicated. I had it on backwards. They mount to the front. And they have their own special screws. And to answer your question, Jimmy, yes, I've been shaving every day since I was 4. The doctor told me it was a case of extreme virility. Basically meant that I'm more man than any 6 men combined. Really can't help it. Hey, Caleb, what's going on, my man? Thanks for stopping by and watching. Oh, Johnny, Jimmy's laughing because I making a joke. He always tries to rib me about how hairy I am, but he's of the hairless breed, so it's kind of an ongoing thing we have going on. Nope, I'm sitting here doing it right now. I have my lavalier mic hooked up. Well, I couldn't get it to work at first. I normally have a boom mic. It's on my computer. That's funny, you have more YouTube subs than I do. Well, I just started my YouTube channel like a couple months ago, so. And I also don't have boobs. Yeah, Caleb, it's really easy to do a pre-built PC. I actually did a... Hang on. Yeah, I actually did a video a couple weeks ago about using a refurbished Dell Optiplex 9020 as a base. And it basically comes with a hard drive, operating system, and all that stuff. You can do that for really, really cheap, like under $400, and you can make it a really nice gaming computer. And it's really hard to screw up because essentially all the parts they're already working together. You can check that on my YouTube channel. I have that up there. Short Gamer, the best pre-built for around $1,200. I would go with an NZXT, a BLD, the build service that they have. With the price of graphics card just being absolutely astronomical right now, I would go that route because you'll end up saving a lot of money getting a pre-built versus trying to build it yourself just because of the graphics card alone. And I've heard nothing but great things about NZXT's pre-build service. I bought a large majority of my components for my build that I did this past year from NZXT. You got nothing but good things to say about it. So yeah, I think it's you may play $100 or $2 or $100 or $200 more than you would by building it yourself, but you're gonna end up saving more in the long run. Actually, you may end up saving money anyway just because of the graphics card situation. Yeah, I regret not recording that build because that was like a modern, Ryzen 7 and an RTX 3070. and all the new components, new motherboard, and all that stuff. But I didn't have this desk and this computer setup done at that point in time. So I've only been really trying to ramp up my content creation efforts here in the last, I guess, like month or so. I have not heard anything personally about Redux. I know that there's been a lot of companies springing up because of the whole shortage issue. It's literally cheaper to buy pre-built right now than build it yourself. So if they have the insider angles to get, I guess, manufacturers discount wholesale on graphics cards, and that's how they're getting the prices competitive. Actually, I don't play games on this computer. I guess that's not technically true. I have my Steam box, which is hooked up to my living room upstairs, hooked up to this computer. So this is my dedicated streaming rig. So when I play games, I play on my main rig, and then I stream from this rig. So I got a capture card and everything to put into this that we'll do in the next couple steps. Yes, I will be streaming tonight. Yep, I'll be back on the Valheims. So if you were to get Valheim, I'll have to get you a dedicated gaming PC, some way, shape, or form. There's budget options for sure. I'm really a big fan of using old refurbished Dells, like the Dell Optiplexes that have the i5s and the i7s. They're an older chipset, but they still function really well in today's gaming environment, especially the i7s, the 4th gen i7s. There is a couple of proprietary connections that are a pain in the butt to deal with going that route. Mainly the power connection to the motherboard. But there's adapters that are readily available for all that stuff. Especially the motherboard headers for the front input and output panels. But yes, I will be streaming Valheim tonight. Yeah, you should be able to. Get up with him and get some bosses down. Yeah, as soon as I reach affiliate status, I think I need 50 followers on Twitch. So we're closing in on that. I think I have 23 now. Once we get that, I can actually play reruns of my streams. I have 24 now. So almost halfway there. So then I can replay my late night streams. So I usually only game like way late at night, and then that would help. I guess the audience that can only watch during the day rewatch the streams. Is it hard? No, not in and of itself. You can make it as hard as you want it to be. So the server that your dad plays with us on, it's the difficulty's actually ramped way up. The PvP damage is turned on all the time. There's a couple other things that it's tweaked. Trolls are tough. I still die against trolls all the time too. It's just because they can kill you in essentially one hit, so you make one mistake and you're dead. Yeah, it's definitely neat. Yeah, sure, Caleb. Yeah, type out a specs list and see what you're working with, and figure it out. You can shoot me a direct message on Twitch if you want. You don't have to air your specs for everyone to see if you don't want to. You just need access to a computer. That's really all you need. You need a Steam account and a computer to play on. I mean, you really could tell your dad to get off of his computer for a little while, and you make your own character and play on there if you want. You have your own. Yeah, that's really all you need. The game doesn't take much in terms of system resources to run. It's a very CPU heavy game. So it uses most of your processor instead of your graphics card, which is kind of funny. But I mean, you could turn the graphics way down, and it runs really really well on older computers. Serpents are challenging. They're a really necessary part of the game because they give you their meat lets you make the best food in the game. But they're very difficult to deal with. You can eventually get a harpoon, and you can harpoon them and drag them up on the land. And then once they're up on land, they just flop around. They don't attack you or anything. Oh, you come play on our server, man. Yeah, we can have up to 20 people playing at once, and we have, I think there's 9 of us now. Oh yeah, the worlds are huge. I mean, you could you could pretty much never run into anybody, even with that many people. Oh, there's Brock's girlfriend plays with us. A couple of his buddies, his gaming buddies. There's a couple of my gaming buddies. My neighbor and his buddy. There's a good collective group. Am I popular? No, I'm a very small streamer. I'm not really doing it for the popularity. I'm doing it so uh, to basically get back that whole hanging out with my friends and playing video games in the same time. Lily's good. She's doing really good. She starts soccer here soon. Why do I fall asleep on the floor? Because I work a lot and I'm tired most of the time. And the only way to get my son to sleep is to lay on the floor while he's in bed. All right, cool, Caleb. Yeah, I'll check it out. Fortunately for this part, I need to see both sides of the case at the same time. Only be a minute like this. Right now I'm trying to fish the power cables through. And now that I'm doing this, I'm thinking I'm going to set up another camera angle from the side so you can see the side. All right, sorry about that. Step away again. Game things for the rules and stuff. Ask your dad to send you a Discord invite. All the information's on the server. Ha! Thanks, dude. I try. That's awesome. We're up to 26 followers on Twitch. 24 more to go. And I believe that's everything I need to do to get affiliate, and I can actually start making money off of doing this. Keep hitting my damn head on the camera. So now I'm going to adjust the standoffs for the motherboard. We're mostly in the right spots, but there's a couple that need to be moved. Yeah, once you follow, that's the only option that you have is to unfollow. That's why it says that. Starting to look like a computer. All right, so we got the I/O panel for the back. Oh no. Walmart PC. You can sometimes get decent stuff. There's cyber power options that they have, or they can be really hit or miss. A lot of times they only come with 8 gigs of RAM, but that can be rectified with just an upgrade to 16 gigs. And then they'll actually play some pretty decent, titles. You just may have to replace the video card, but I mean, in today's climate, with the way prices are, any computer gaming system is better than no computer gaming system. But yeah. Yes, it's... Sometimes you can get really decent deals from the box stores. Yep, the RGB gets you every time. Sorry, don't mind my bald ass head in the camera. Sometimes there's no other angle but to look straight down. You always want to be careful when you're doing stuff around the fans too after they're installed to not hit the fan blades. Sometimes it can be a challenge. What I'm doing hard? No. As a whole, no individual step in this process is difficult. It's just there's 1,001 steps. So, and there's no correct order either. I mean, you could really do it any which way. But it's just trying to keep everything, all the steps in line, and make sure that everything is done. That's the challenging part. Yep, I got the shiny head. That's for sure. Yes, on our server, the way it plays is all resources, all raw materials are fair game to be stolen. You can get attacked, you can get killed, and your body robbed as well. But your base is essentially anything that a player builds. It can't be deconstructed by another player because that's kind of counterintuitive to the play. So there's wards and other stuff that you can implement so people can't open your doors or chests. But wards themselves can be destroyed to allow access to chests and doors, but they just can't leave your bases open to NPCs, basically. It makes it so you have to guard your shit, more or less. This is the secondary input board for the fan. The fan and the CPU pump. Trying to figure out where to put it. Almost 2 hours. Yep, I sure have. Probably got another 2 hours to go. Hour and a half or so, I would say. Cool, Kale. Will do, man. I'll shoot you a message back. So this is the variable speed fan that is connected to the heatsink on the CPU pump. During the week, I don't start streaming until 10 o'clock at night Eastern. That's, you guys are 2 hours behind us, so I don't start streaming until about 8 your time. I don't know where the hell to put this board. It's got to go somewhere. I just need a proprietary angle to see what I'm doing real quick here. Flip it back on its side for everybody else to see. Keep hitting the camera with my head. It's a challenge. Again, hitting my head on the camera. Thinking this thing is basically gonna have to go pretty much right where it is somehow. How to mount it. There's no holes. Can't mount a PCI board directly to metal because it'll short out, so it needs to have some kind of spacer or standoff. That's actually a really good spot. If I can figure out how to secure it. I'm like racking my brain right now how to do that. Do not want to drill through the case and install motherboard standoffs because that would basically require me to take everything apart at this point, and I'm not trying to do that. So I'm thinking hot glue. I have a super high temperature hot glue sticks and hot glue gun. I think that's going to be the way to go. I'm getting it out right now. So I got these little rubber standoffs in my spare parts box. I'm going to basically secure that to the case to give me an insulated standoff. And then I'm going to secure the board to the rubber standoff. Hot glue is not conductive. It's actually safe to use on electronics. High temperature glue is preferable just in case your rig gets really hot. It technically doesn't melt until over 200 degrees, so your computer should never ever reach that temperature. But I just prefer the high temperature stuff anyway because it has a stronger bond. Actually, you have to have, just for reference, if you ever do use high temperature glue, you have to have a special glue gun for it, one that has a variable thermostat on it. If you notice, there's a switch on the one that I was using. Also, for reference, I'm not wearing a grounding band because I'm standing on a grounded mat. Not a fan of tethers on my wrists when doing this kind of stuff, and never was. A little bit of cleanup. Now we just got to figure out where to stick the primary control board. Thinking on top of where the power supply goes on the front side of the case. Probably have to get creative with standoffs just like this, but there's actually threaded holes there for ventilation. This should be pretty easy to work with. Very interesting. This is going to be fun. I just noticed that my Facebook stream is not working correctly, and it should be streaming. Wonder if YouTube isn't working either. If YouTube's working, good old Facebook. Such a pain in the butt. All right, let's see if that worked. Hey, what's up, Johnny? I got the multi-screen effect going on. All right, so I'm gonna have to take out the power supply and readjust some stuff to make this work. So I think this will work. I think a combination of motherboard standoffs and some nuts that I have that fit. Essentially, going to fabricate a connection. It may not be very tight, but it'll be secure, and nothing should short out. It's definitely looking like it'll work. I think I may need to adjust some things, but this is promising. More of the old handy rubber standoffs. Again, I apologize for the poor angle on this one. I have to have the card sitting flat with gravity holding it in place to make this work. I definitely think on my next build video, because this is definitely my most popular item that I've been doing to date. I generally have 1 to 2 viewers when I'm playing games, and I can have between 9 and 10 people watching me when I'm doing a PC build. So I think I may shift the channel's attention a little bit. So I've had this box of screws follow me around since college when I took my A+ certification classes. And the advice the professor gave me then is collect and keep every single screw, component, part, piece, anything that you pull out of a PC that you work on. The people you do the work for will never miss them, and you will find them invaluable in the future. And that has been some of the best advice I've ever had dealing with computers. So there's only 2 accessory slots for solid state drive. So to get my 3rd solid state drive in there, I had to get creative and mount it underneath, just to the side of the power supply. Again, rubber standoffs are a friend. Minecraft Safarian, what's up, man? Thanks for stopping by. So this actually looks really good. It's solid. I like it. Hard drive in there. Hit my head on the camera again. Awesome. Yeah, the case is it is a Corsair 4000D Airflow. Don't think this is gonna quite fit. I'm gonna have to adjust this. Yeah, it's getting caught on the bottom nut for the controlling board. Yeah, I got this from a gaming buddy of mine. He had ordered one. It took forever to get there, so he canceled the order, ordered another one, and then both of them showed up at the same time. So he had one essentially just sitting around. They never returned, so he sold it to me for really cheap. Case itself is, I mean, it's aesthetically pleasing. Tempered glass on the side. Cable management's really nice. See how it goes. I'm hoping that I'm not going to have to move the hard drive, but I have a feeling that I'm going to. Let's see if snipping off the bottoms of those standoffs will work. It did not. Alright, so you're getting your first PC this year. It's awesome, man. Congrats. Yeah, it's definitely a very deep pool to jump into, and it's really easy to fall in, and needless to say. Again, apologize for the angle. I need to be able to see both sides here. Yeah, it's a solid way to go, man. I like NZXTs a lot. Sorry, I keep talking and stopping. I'm like I'm focusing. I get tunnel vision. Yep, Clo Tester is 100% correct. If you want to get a card, a 30 series card in today's environment, you basically have to go with a pre-built. Like I was saying, NZXTs, I've been heard nothing but great things about them. They don't charge that much for their pre-built service. Ow. You hit my damn head. And their components are great. I mean, I just built one myself. It took me a year to collect all the parts. But the majority of the parts are from NZXT. NZXT case, CPU cooler, the fans. I would, if you're going to go pre-built, definitely, I would avoid Alienware. They're definitely overpriced for what you get. You can get, for the same price, you can get a way nicer pre-built from NZXT than you can from Alienware. If you're worried about like financing or something that you can get through Dell, I mean, there's options for financing as well through NZXT. I saw that they have those options too. I know that's why a lot of people go with Alienware, is because you can basically make monthly payments on it. Yeah, my prior built, or not this one. This computer is actually an old Alienware itself. So I'm just recasing it to something that's a lot more efficient. The old Alienware case is very hot. Didn't have very... Ow, I keep hitting my head. Yeah, very hot. It's not very cool. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to switch to this case. Yeah, they're definitely not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Alienware, they're very, very good looking, aesthetically pleasing. I have an old Alienware keyboard. One of my headsets is an Alienware. Still really good. Yeah, the cooling is definitely the biggest thing. I mean, this for reference, this rig, it came with a 1,000-watt power supply, a liquid cooled CPU pump, and all that stuff. And it literally only has 3 fans. It had 3 fans in the entire build, the entire case. So there was one main intake fan that brought the air in basically to the hard drives to the rest of the case. There was a secondary fan that blew over top of, I guess, the side of the board, and then the fan for the CPU pump. And that was it. And it was not enough. And it was just poorly designed to where it sucks up the air from the front. There was no screening for the dust. It made the inside of the case really, really dirty, which doesn't help with thermals. So this build will have those 3 fans plus 5 additional 120 millimeter fans. I mean, the other option too, you could literally just buy another case for $50 and swap everything out, and it will drastically improve your thermals. This is very tedious. I actually saw that. I saw Linus Tech did a review of the Aurora R12, and it's really cool how they designed everything. It's like all in essentially like these arms that swivel out. It's really neat how they engineered so much stuff into like that package. Work? I think it works. I think it works. It works. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was the R11. Yeah, Linus puts out so many videos. That's like straight up streamer goals, man. I really wish I had the time to put in that much effort to content creation and that be my livelihood, because that would be amazing. I'm actually a environmental engineer by trade, and I specialize in remediation and cleanup for a living. So this is more of a passion project and an awesome, fun hobby for me. It's actually starting to look really, really good now. Let's take the back things off and put in the graphics card. We got a RTX 2060 to put in here. Sorry, I know you guys don't want to see my back, but I need the angle real quick. All right, so we got that in there. Oh, not much of what's happening in the stream makes sense. Oh crap, dropping stuff. It basically putting a PC together is just it's an erector set. I mean, there's only so many ways things can go together. I mean, it's basically tab A, slot B, and just plug and play. It's really not as complicated as a lot of people think. There's just a lot of small steps, a lot of very, very simple steps, a ton of simple steps combined together. It is very, very expensive Legos, yes. So here's my capture card. It's an Elgato HD 60 Pro. When I first started streaming, I tried to go all the cheap alternative routes. I tried doing NDI streaming over the network, basically, between my two computers using OBS, and there's a lag with that. It's not necessarily the quality that I was going for. It wasn't going to make me, essentially, it wasn't going to help me grow by just looking mediocre. Haven't had any issues at all since using the Elgato. It's worked every single time. Mr. Games, what's going on? We pretty much have everything in the case at this point. Now it's time to start running wires. The USB option capture cards aren't bad at all, as long as you have a USB 3.0 port to plug into. You just got to make sure that you can do it at 1080p and 60 frames a second. Most even older computers have at least one USB 3.0 in the back. It's like the only one that's blue. It has a blue plastic connection inside of it. So you may have one just hiding in the back. Okay, so you got a laptop. Gotcha. The other thing too, I mean, you can go straight for a cheaper card that can do 720p at 60 frames a second, and those work just fine with USB 2.0. And in the grand scheme of things, if you're streaming, anything, 99.9% of people watching streams watch them on their phones, and 720p is more than a high enough resolution for it to look good. Eight gigs of RAM, yeah. Even it depends on really what you're gaming, man. It's a lot of people are really into retro games or indie games, and you don't need more than 8 gigs of RAM for those. And then also keep in mind, I mean, I always tell people this: the amount of RAM you have isn't necessarily as important as the speed of the RAM that you have. So you could have, 32 gigs of RAM in a machine, and it'd be slower, 1600 megahertz, 32 gigs of RAM, and then you get a gaming rig with 16 gigs of RAM that has twice the speed. That fast 16 gigs of RAM is going to operate more efficiently and faster overall than that 32 gigs of RAM. I never recommend that anybody gets more than 16 gigs of RAM for a gaming PC unless you're going to stream and game from the same rig, in which case you should definitely get 32 gigs of RAM. Just the more RAM you have, the more programs you can run simultaneously without system lag. So if you're doing like a lot of video processing or stuff like that, if you're also essentially if you have one rig to do everything, then you want as much RAM as possible. So before I stuck my foot in my mouth. So if you're trying to stream Assassin's Creed and play at the same time, you probably want 32 gigs of RAM, I would say. You'd probably be okay with 16, because I don't believe that Assassin's Creed utilizes more than 8. So you'd still have, 6 to 8 for system use and streaming. And most of that load's put on your graphics card. The streaming stuff is, especially if you use the NVENC encoder. Yeah, Odyssey it's a big game. It's a big game for sure. Oh yeah, it's a big one. I have it as well. I haven't beat it yet. It's just I have a tendency to buy games when they're on sale, and I just end up with this massive backlog that I'll never basically get through. So one day I will get through it, and we'll go get into it from there. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, streaming in 4K is tough. I'm pretty sure the only platform right now that allows you to stream in 4K is YouTube, and you have to be a partner with them to do that. Everything else is 1080p. Yeah, I'm not sure the exact details with that, but I know that they don't let just anybody stream in 4K. There's a bandwidth issue there. Even Facebook, if you're streaming on Facebook, they don't let you stream in 1080p until you're a partner. So it's funny. Mr. Games, no, I don't think Valheim is very hard. It has its challenging moments, but it's like Minecraft, a little bit more adulty, but it is absolutely fun. Valheim is probably the most fun I've had playing a game since I was a kid myself, hands down. Yeah, that's a good reason. You will always be able to get more bang for your buck with a desktop than you will with a laptop. That's just because the prices of components and the miniaturization for the laptops are just it's more expensive to do all around, and the cooling is more difficult. I have a gaming laptop myself, and it has a 2070 in it, and that thing runs hot. I mean, hot. So hot that it can't sit on your lap while you're actually gaming. You can't comfortably use the keyboard while you're gaming. You have to use a separate keyboard. And you also need a dedicated cooling mat for it, a USB powered fan mat. Otherwise, it will damage the computer if you game for a long period of time. And I got that computer for my side business, to process high resolution videography, and to basically do it in the field while I was doing the work. And it's just hot. Yeah, you'll always get more storage too, and you can expand. You can always add more additional storage as well. And then down the road, if you ever want to upgrade the case itself, you can just take the motherboard out, get a $50 case that has more space, and transfer all the components over. Really, I would go with whatever you can find. Like, whatever you could literally get your hands on at this point, I would go with that. The 3060 Ti is going to rip. I have a 3070 myself. It also rips. I can personally attest that it's an awesome card. And I've read awesome things about the 3060 Ti. But it's just, between everybody being stuck at home with COVID and cryptocurrency mining like blowing up and going through the roof, that's the main reason why GPU prices are sky high right now. Probably the 3060 Ti because it's newer. It's slightly newer. And I believe it benchmarks a tad higher than 3070. I'd have to look that up. The difference might also be nominal. And may not be worth a couple $100 price difference, you know. Keep hitting my damn head. I just jostled the shit out of the camera. Yeah, then I would honestly just go with whatever's cheaper and what you can actually get your hands on. Yeah, even 3090s are really, really... they're really, really expensive, is the thing. And they even get a monitor that's capable of utilizing the 3090 to the full extent. You're going to pay almost as much for that as you are on the actual rig itself. Three terabytes? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you just want to make sure you have a solid state drive in there to house either only your operating system for faster boots or your operating systems and your most frequently played games for faster load times. Sorry, I got tunnel vision there. 1,000-watt power supply. I'm trying to think. The power requirements for the 3090, I think it's 750 watts. And I know that it jumps up to, it has more of a power requirement if you use the i9 or the Ryzen 9 chips. Oh no, man, you're fine. This is what I do this stuff for. Do I go with the I would go with the i9 definitely over the i7. If you can get a Ryzen though, I would get a Ryzen anything, because Ryzens right now are the leading chip in the industry. Not only are the Ryzens faster, and a lot of the benchmarks are way cheaper than Intel. Hey, mister. What's going on? Well, I know it's you, Johnny. This is just Twitch. We got to use our Twitch names. Yeah, man, what you got? Water over air cooling. Air is significantly easier to do yourself. Yes. Also, if you're not, even with the pre-built, if you're not planning on overclocking your processor, you should be just fine with air. You know, it'll save you some money. Yeah, I'm not too sure on how the cooling situation is with the R12. Yeah, if it's only $50, yeah, that's a good call. That thing's a pain. Crap. Windows, yes, always go with Windows Pro. You have a ton more control over your system with Windows Pro. Ow. I'm gonna have to reposition this camera. I keep cracking my head. Yeah, the Windows Pro allows you to tweak your system to further run some games better or some games at all. Like there's a lot of fix and tweaks that you basically need Windows Pro to do. It's very situational. You may also grow into it as well, so it's kind of like future proofing your rig. And I think the difference there, it's less than $100 between the home and professional. So it's just I mean, there's other places that you can skimp on. Like you don't need Office, Microsoft Office. You can get Open Office for free, and it does all the same stuff. So it's like stuff like that. You can save fee or save price on the warranties and the software packages. All right, sorry, stepped away for a sec. Yeah, you can upgrade it. If you buy home, you can upgrade it to Pro after the fact. Yeah, they certainly do. The budget is basically the limit with Alienware. They can really cram a lot of stuff into those cases. Yep. Yep. I can't imagine what you'd be doing that you would need 128 gigs of RAM, but holy crap. I mean, running a super dedicated server machine. Yeah. To keep things into perspective, too, it's the average smartphone that everybody carries around is 100 times more powerful and has 1,000 times more storage than the computers that sent us to the moon the first time. It was just like hard to wrap your head around that. I guess the easy answer for that's probably Adobe. If you're doing anything with Adobe, you need to give it all of the RAM. That is certainly the truth right there. Universal renderings, yeah. Everything is hooked up. Then the last little bits of cable management, and we'll flip it over and turn it on and see what we got. Getting close. Yeah, this is unfortunately the boring part of cable management. I got all the cool stuff installed. Now it's just running the cables to where they got to go and hiding them. So this is the 8-pin connector for the graphics card. A lot of power supplies, they have a 6+2. And they have to go in together. It looks like I just... Yep. Yep, I mean, they have to go, they snap together. And go in at the same time. Yep. Ow. I swear I'm gonna have a bruise on top of my head after this. Oh yeah, I'm fine. I always butt my head on stuff. The industry standard for capture cards is the Elgato. They're $110, which is unfortunate. There's a lot of $40 and $50 alternatives that function very well. I haven't personally tried any of them. I've just read that there's good reviews. For a long time when I started streaming, and for a long time I mean like 2 or 3 months, I used a $19 capture card that did 720p and 60 frames a second, and I used that for a long time. I actually used 2 of them, one for my my mirrorless camera that I use for a webcam, and then one for the game capture. And the thing about cheap cards is your computer will see 2 identical cards as 1 card. And it was a pain getting everything to register and work. The HD 60 is essentially like the base model. You don't need the 4K model at all for streaming. I mean, the industry standard for streaming is going to be 1080p for quite some time. But you can get other ones for $50 that will do the exact same thing. Ow. Yeah, the prices in that stuff is going up too. It's just generally anything to do with streaming since the whole COVID lockdown. Like, a lot of people have taken it up. Also, streaming has become pretty mainstream in business with teleconferencing and stuff. I do it a lot for my full-time job. Screen share, essentially. Training people on how to do stuff. OnlyFans, that's right. Yeah, I really didn't think about that sentence, but yeah. The double positive is a triple positive, I guess, in that respect. It's just humans as an animal themselves, we're very social creatures, and after everybody's been locked down for so long, we all crave social interaction in some way, shape, or form. And streaming is an avenue a lot of people are taking for that. These static connections here are tight. It's tight like a tiger. It really sucks because my fingers are fat and my right thumb doesn't work too well. Yeah, mine. I'm the same way, man. I'm very much a hermit. I like to hang out at home a lot, but I like to play games with my boys. And I have like my gaming crew. And I used to go out to a local brewery every Friday with a group of friends before all this shit happened. So there were still some. Half of them were part of my gaming group anyway. It was like we'd pretty much meet up on Friday after work, go grab a couple beers, and then go home and game all night. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I don't like people very much either. I like my people, so to speak. I like the people that I meet on Twitch because they're all of like-minded mentalities. I have to say though, I mean this stream has been awesome. Thanks a ton for everybody to stop by and hung out. You know, Jimmy's been here the whole time. Yeah, I average probably 2 to 3 viewers when I'm playing games, and I've had close to 10. I think the average was 8 or 9, and it had upwards of 15 at one point. So that's awesome. Like it gives me a ton of joy. I mean, just imagine sitting around hanging out, doing something that you enjoy doing, and there's 10 people sitting there watching you, hanging out with you. I mean, there's no such thing as a small streamer in my mind in that respect. That's awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. I was very, very nervous when I started. I started streaming the last week in September last year, doing Call of Duty streams, basically. You know, it was a dime a dozen with, you know, 1,000,001 other people doing the same thing. And it was just really hard to get noticed. And, you know, the first couple times I had 2 or 3 people watching me play, I got really, really nervous. I don't know. It's somewhere along the way, you just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, and you just get used to it. And, now I get nervous when there's not anybody watching me. I feel like, because Twitch especially has like a metric where you have to keep an average number of viewers for so long to reach affiliate status. And that's what I've been striving for. I almost got the average viewers up. And I also need 50 followers, so we're more than halfway there now. So, get there eventually. Going on, Johnny? It came in for the home stretch. I think there's only a couple more wires to run, and we're going to test fire her up. Hey, Vivo, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining. Johnny, I'll be streaming tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. I attempted to buy these wave pads. Yeah, I mean, I would. You could also, if you're streaming from the computer you're playing a game on, you don't need a capture card. You could just do a window capture with OBS, and that'll save you the money straight up out of the gate. There's also an alternative if you can stream with your old laptop. Just hang on to that. And you can just install OBS on both computers, the computer you're gaming on, as well as your laptop, and then you can essentially stream the window capture from your gaming computer to your laptop through OBS without a capture card. You can stream directly from Xbox to Twitch from your Xbox. You'll have to install the app on your Xbox. That's another thing I haven't done myself. I just know that you can do that. That's an option as well. Excuse me. Viva, the specs on this PC, this is my dedicated streaming PC. It's about 7 years old. So I'm rehousing it to a cooler case that has better thermals. But this has an i7-4930K processor, 32 gigs of RAM, RTX 2060, an Elgato HD60 Pro for the stream card. Got 5 separate hard drives. There's 3 solid state drives. There's 2 optical drives for storage. Try to think what else there is in there. There's a ton of fans at this point. There's going to be 8 total fans. So even though this computer is 7 years old, I mean, it still plays today's games at 60 frames a second easy. I was playing Warzone on this right up until January when I finished my new build. Nice. Ryzen 5 1600s are solid CPUs. I have a Ryzen 7 in mine. I think it's a 3600X. It's just beyond pleased with how they function. And for reference, I took 8 months with my build, buying pieces that were on sale here and there. And the graphics card, luckily, I got shortly after it released, just before all the prices went skyrocket bonkers. So I was really leery about paying $489 for a graphics card for my main rig, a 3070. But I am so glad that I did, because it is twice that right now. The USB 3.1 cable is super stiff and is being a pain. The chipset on this motherboard, I believe it's the LTD 2002? I haven't looked that up in a while. Inside of the rig itself, I have a total of 4 terabytes of storage, and the majority of my storage is actually on a NAS on my network, and that's 12 terabytes. But I have internally 4 terabytes on this rig itself, with 2 of that being solid-state drive space, spread across 3 different drives. So on the prior budget build video that I had done a couple weeks ago, I didn't do any of the cable management on camera, so I didn't want everybody to think that I just didn't do cable management at all. I totally went back and did that later. So I'm making sure to do it on this one. $70 for a decent case that's a good price. That's a good price for sure. Oh, nice. I have one of the white ones, an NZXT on my main rig. You definitely paid way less than I did. I paid $110 for mine. All right, let's put the dust filters back in. Oh yeah, the RGB makes it fun. Yeah, the 5-pack of fans that I put in this cost me $35 for the fans and the controller, so they're super cheapies. Alright, let's put this tempered glass case on. My favorite part right here. Oh, yeah. Baby, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was satisfying. One more. Got one more underneath. I'll do this one fast. Oh. Yeah, the angle in the last one was kind of bad. All right, let me get a power cable. See what we got. Yeah, it would, Viva. Luckily, the system makes a series of definitive tones, so I know when it boots up all the way without even having to hook up a monitor. which will help. All right. Oh, snap. Got fanage. See what the lights look like. Let me get the remote. It booted up all the way and made all the tones. Oh, yeah, baby. Now, it is really bright in here because of the lights I have on the camera, and the tempered glass is tinted. Hell yeah. Well, I think that's going to be it. Kids are biting at the bit. They need some attention. I need to get ready for my stream tonight, and I need to hang out with the wife for a little bit. Definitely thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to do a more detailed video, a tutorial video of this build and the prior build that I did. And I'll be putting that out soon. I just need some time to work on the editing for that. So in the meantime, everybody have a good night. I'll be back on again tonight in about 2 hours and 45 minutes, around 10 o'clock, streaming some Valheim. So until then, thanks and peace out.